All right, so see if I can give this one a go. So somehow I haven't really talked about SLEs directly, somehow. Um, so here we go. All right. So this is an interesting type that is quite interesting to me. I feel like within the socionics world, I've encountered a lot of SLEs, which has been very surprising. They're a lot more um, they're a lot more interested in analytical thinking and really diving deep into the structure of things, um, really dissecting systems, doing a lot of rationalizing, um, just essentially behaving in a way you would expect a lot of so-called NTs to do. Um, really diving into the logic of stuff, and they're very, very good at it. I've been kind of surprised a little bit to see that, predominantly with socionics is where it really showed up to me. It's not a stereotype that you normally hear about when talking about ESTPs in like the MBTI world. In MBTI world, they tend to be described a lot as like gym bros and chads and guys on motorcycles or something, all that cool guy stuff. And it kind of gets downplayed the rational side of these people. So here in socionics, it's been far more clear. All right. Anyway, that's kind of a little overview thing. Let's show that. Hey, this super amazing chart that I drew up. Whatever. All right. So yeah, SLEs. Right. So here we go. The ego block. This is what they're really super duper good at. Right. Super ego, what they're really horrible at. The super id, still good, but not great. Could be better. Right. And then id block, some stuff that they are good at, but ultimately just don't care. It's kind of the simple breakdown, right? So starting with SE, this is really what makes the SLE, right? They're SE dominant, SE base. What is SE about? Being fast in the moment, getting things done in the physical environment, being aware of their sensory physical environment, aware of the objects, things around them, things going on around them, aware of themselves, people, in the physical space. It's a sensory, right? But with extroverted sensory, they want to push upon the external world. They want to do more with it. They want to challenge themselves. They want to push. They want to be ambitious. They want to dominate the space more. They want to influence the environment more. Um, these types can be very ambitious in a job sense, trying to climb the social hierarchy in the ranks and so on. They can sometimes be materialistic and wanting to acquire more materials, more cars, more homes, more fancy bling, like whatever. Um, Many will talk about just enjoying challenges. They just see a challenge in the physical environment and they just want to test themselves, see how well they could do it. They want to try to overcome those challenges. So there's a big strong fighter in the room. They want to see if they can beat that guy. There's a big mountain in there. They want to see if they can climb that mountain, take it on. There's a big heavy box that needs moving. Somebody sits there and go, ah, bro, I don't know if you're going to be able to move the furniture before into the house before the rain shows up in 15 minutes. And that SLE will look at that as a challenge and go, oh hell yeah, watch me move all these couches and everything into this house real fast. Like watch this. They can be very interested in that kind in just taking on the challenge of stuff. Um, so it's very SE. Now in socionics, it's critical to talk about blocking. I'm a big believer that you always have to focus on blocking, meaning it's not just SE, it's the block together. SE and TI. Now, SE is dominant, but TI is the creative function. They're coming together. Okay. So TI is kind of flavoring, it's giving this SE a certain unique style to it, making it different from other SEs. Right. So, because of the strong TI creative ability, they're very, very good at spending a lot of time logically analyzing systems, how things work, how these machines work, how these tools work, how the rules and structure of a place work, um, how this sport maybe works. You know, they're very interested in dissecting the underlying structure to things. How does it work? Why does it work? Do all the little parts to it make sense? They can often be very good at being almost lawyer-like, really good at understanding rules to an organization and how to manipulate those rules, how to break them, bend them, use them as they want to. They can, I've seen them often be kind of annoying at times as workers because they can be that guy that knows the rules inside and out and then throws the rules in your face. This is how the rules are, whatever. This is the policy. And if, you know, usually they're right about it. They have it down really well. Um, they kind of know how to play that game. They also know how to deconstruct arguments very, very well. This is the argument. Okay, well, then based on that logic, well, then this should work, right? Based on what you're saying and so forth, then that logic is true, then this and that whole, they do that kind of stuff a lot. Very, very good at that. And that's one of the things that's been very surprising to see with an SLE in the socionics world. You see a lot of these SLEs doing a good job of dissecting the systems, socionic systems, MBTI systems, other systems, and looking at the definitions of things. Does that make sense? Does that not make sense? This is where that doesn't make sense. This is where this here logically would not make sense. They're very, very good at that deep analysis, again, that you would expect from maybe like an NT or something. So that's been impressive to see that. Now, that's the overall block. So you're seeing the SE moving around the physical space, enforcing stuff, pushing their will onto things, making stuff happen, but colored always with this understanding of how things work, the underlying structures, the logic, the reasoning behind it. Okay. This is the structure of it. I prefer to kind of like mention the demonstrative function, which is this right here, TE. TE, or the demonstrative function, I should say, is always going to be very, very strong and capable. It's just as strong and capable as the dominant function. But the difference is it's not valued. So it's down here in the A where it's just not valued. They're good at it, but they just don't really care that much. And I like to do this because when you're looking at somebody, you should be able to see these functions playing out quickly. You should be able to see the SE always. It's going to be bold, strong, and always present. You should be able to see the demonstrative function, TE. It's strong, it's bold. It's not always present, but almost. Okay, because it's very, very good. The only real difference is that they'll talk about SE stuff in a way where they value it. It's important to them. They like it. Whereas TE, they just are like, yeah, whatever. Like they take it for granted. They kind of like, just sort of ignore it. They don't care. They do it so easily. They're just like, whatever. So you should always see in an SLE the constant SE usage, good TE stuff. They understand how things work. They've looked up data on how it works. They've done some research on it. They've done physical observations where they've seen people doing it and go, I've seen how it works. I know that it works like that. I know the practical use of things. I understand the application of that thing, right? They get those things very, very well. So they're very good at that. And you should start to see the TI where they like to deconstruct how it works. What are the underlying rules behind it? What are the principles that go into it? And does everything, is it all consistent? Consistently making sense? Are they following that consistency? Okay, they like that. They pay a lot of attention. So you should always see the SETI and that demonstrative function, TE. They understand the application of things well. That is what they're really, really good at. Okay. So I kind of like to make that jump. All right. So we've got that stuff. What are they horrible at? FI. This is the vulnerable function. This is the polar or vulnerable. The FI stuff, they're usually not very good at understanding the emotions of other people unless usually those people explicitly tell them. They're not very good at just observing someone or just getting a sense of like, oh, that's what that person's feeling. That's what that person values. That's what that person is into, whatever. They're usually not so good at that. They don't pick up on it well. And they almost need that person to flat out tell them, hey, I hate that thing. I don't like you. I do like this thing. Or I'm in a bad mood right now. They almost need a more obvious display of that emotion. They don't do well when people kind of mask or hide their emotions and things like that. They don't do well with that at all. Um, it's like they can't tell that you're in a bad mood until you slam a door or something. Then they go, oh, he must be in a bad mood. Because why? He did a physical thing in the sensory world. He slammed the door. Now I know. They have problems like that. They will also have problems kind of sometimes understanding maintaining that physical distance, that psychological distance, excuse me, psychological distance with people, where they don't really always know how to keep people close to them that they want to keep close, and keep people away from them that they don't want to keep away. They tend to kind of treat everyone the same. They're just like everybody, we're all here to have a good time. We're all the same. I'm not really showing much preferential treatment to any one person, or I'm not showing much hostility and negative treatment to any one person. It's like a blanket free for all with everybody. And that tends to feel like it depersonalizes things to some people. Like strong FI people are like, hey, I thought I was special to you. I thought I was more important to you. I thought we were bros. I thought we were like close. And you kind of behave like you're not that interested, and you're just, like I'm just like anybody else. And now I feel kind of, so those are common problems with the SLE. They don't really get those things well, and in many cases, they'll know it. They know they suck at it. Um, they just kind of deal. Any This is the role function. So when needed, they can try to be a little creative and start trying to like connect dots on like, oh, well, maybe these are some other options or some other alternatives. Maybe the way we need to think about the situation is, like this. We need to consider these other possibilities about how someone is feeling, or how something else is going on, or what maybe the reasons why someone is behaving the way they are and doing what they're doing is because of these other possibilities. They can kind of do some NE, but they don't like to do it. It's not their thing. They're not particularly good at it. And it's only really if they have to. They're forced to, they're required to, circumstances make them do it. Then they'll kind of start NEing a little bit. But this is not a thing they do very well. And once again, blocking, FINE. So being more creative and understanding the different possibilities of why someone feels the way they do, why someone feels strongly about a particular thing, why somebody might have some reasons why they're behaving the way they're behaving, coming up with those options to figure that out. They're usually pretty bad at it. They tend to be very one dimensional, where they see you behave a certain way and that's it. They come to a logical conclusion on why you must be, and that's kind of about it. They don't do a good job at trying to think a little more broadly and deeply about why that person might have these underlying motives and reasons for what they're doing. It's not their thing. Okay. So blocking. FE and I. So FE stuff. This would be the mobilizing position. In MBTI world is like the third function. So here, FE is something that they value it. It is bold and it will be noticeable. They are very good at picking up on the vibe of the room, picking up on the vibe, the atmosphere, trying to influence that vibe, create a good mood, um, picking up if it's a bad mood, trying to influence that mood, influence people, make people laugh, be charming, be fun, put some energy into the room. Very good at that stuff. And that's part of the reason why they can be very charming, right? This nice, powerful combination of SE, moving in the room, doing stuff, being physically active, making things happen, taking on challenges, being exciting, combined with, making the mood go up. This is a great party, like great charismatic leader, perhaps. This combination right here, they're really influencing the crowd of people, making their presence felt. Like, let's have a good time, let's get crazy, let's do stuff. Or the opposite, it is a bad mood and a bad vibe, I don't like this thing, we're going to change this around, or we're going to get in someone's ass, right? But because mobilized, they're not always so good at this part. And part of the reason too is especially they can be trying to influence the mood and doing stuff, but without really understanding the motives of the people and things like that. They don't get the FI things, the feelings of stuff, and they can easily make mistakes, stepping on people's toes, offending people, um, trying to create a mood that it's like it's not the right time. So they can kind of mess this part up quite a bit with the FE. Yeah, Cheshire catting it. NI. So NI, um, suggestive position. So this would be fourth in MBTI. They are not really good at spotting the symbolism, the deeper meaning behind things, the deeper philosophy of things, the why this is important, why we need to do these kinds of things. They're not always so good at projecting farther into the future about what's going to happen, how things should play out, or well, how things will play out. How what we are doing now is going to affect how things are going to play out 3 months from now, 6 months from now. They're not so good at that. They tend to be very in the moment people that like, hey, this is the thing that what's going on today. This is the challenge of what I'm dealing with right now today. And they focus on that. They get that done in the most logical, direct, quickest way to solve that problem and efficiently solve that problem. Boom, did it. Okay. Problem is solved. Let's just move on. And then they deal with the next problem. And then they deal with the next problem. They're not very good at trying to project how do I deal with this problem in such a way that it's still going to work out well. It's not going to cause any long-term issues. It's not going to affect other people. It's not going to bother anybody. They're not so good at all that other stuff, right? That's where the NI stuff kicks in. So it's very common for these types to look for people who are good at this NI, who could help provide an understanding of the things that are important, the things that are going to last, the deeper meaning of why we do things. It's not just solving problems to solve problems, but there's a deeper purpose to why we do it this way, why there's culture, how this affects people, how are people going to perceive this over a longer term, you know, those kinds of things. So it's very common to see some SLEs that might be very interested in philosophy, spiritualism stuff, occult stuff, again, other philosophies discussing, the meaning of life and why do we do, this, or maybe religious things. They can get into all that kind of stuff in an attempt to search for deeper meaning behind things. This is just something that does not occur to them on their own naturally. They need kind of help to do it. Okay, I think that we beat that enough. And having long-term plans. A lot of SLEs don't have any long-term plans really. They tend to like, well, this is what I'm doing right now and what I'm probably going to be doing for the next couple of months as a job or career or whatever. Who knows where it goes from there? They can often be very rather than that person's like, this is kind of the thing I've always wanted to do my whole life. I've always been really dedicated towards this goal in my life. This is the path that I wanted to do. That's another kind of way the NI kind of manifests. So anyway, we get down to the id block now. This is all not valued. We already mentioned the TE. The SI is because they're doing SE, right? It's all sensory stuff. They're still good in the sensory. They're still good with SI things. They can take care of themselves. Okay. They can do the comfort, take care of myself, make sure I get sleep, make sure I eat right, make sure I, have a nice environment where things are in their right place and it's comfortable for me. They can do that, but they don't value that. They don't really care that much about that. They don't mind dealing with some hardship. In fact, they seek out hardship a lot because they want the challenge. They want to push themselves. That is what lights them up. That's what makes them feel alive and feel like they're doing what they're doing, what they're meant to do. SI being too comfortable and relaxed, it feels too lazy. It could feel too boring for them. It just doesn't. They don't care. They'll do it. They'll get it done. They don't have problems in that area, but it's just not interesting to them. They're ignoring this. That's why this is called the ignoring function. They're ignoring it in favor of SE. That's what they like. That's what they're all about. So, all right. Hopefully that pretty much covers all of this stuff. By the way, this kind of blocked SINTE. This can very much be about, comfort, getting things done in a very practical way. This is how things get done, how things work, and we go about it in a nice, relaxed, practical way to just achieve our goal, no more, no less, keep everything nice and comfortable and relaxed, and keep the day-to-day tasks completed, right? Just keep the day-to-day wheels turning. They're not really into that kind of stuff. It's just not exciting enough. So as I said earlier, they tend to do a lot of logical thinking. They set up a lot of structure in their world. They are very physical, active, outgoing people doing things, but while they're doing them, they're often setting up logical ways of doing things that achieve results and do it in an efficient and fast way. They like getting things done quickly. They figure out this is the most efficient way to set everything up in such a way that I get the task done quickly. Boom. It's almost like life is a race to them. Because they like the TI over TE, it's not just a matter of getting it done and achieving a result, but also about having a consistent way of doing it. Consistency. I created a system of how I can do things, and I stick to that system that I've created. And the reason I stick to it is because it allows me to get things done in the fastest way possible, right? So they can be very much into building a system, a structure of doing things, and they can be very consistent at following that approach to stuff. But they are flexible with it. It is a creative position. So they're not always so dogmatic. If you do come in with some good ideas that change their system a little bit, they're okay with that. They can be flexible with you changing some stuff here and there, as long as it gets things done and it gets it done, in the most fast way possible. We got it done. Boom. All right. So that's typical SLE stuff. Again, their duals are usually going to be IEIs, which is all this backwards, right? That's the NIFE dominant type that then has TI and then SE, right? That's usually their duals, supposedly. I don't think I mentioned the whole beta quadrupart, but beta values, they're still part of overall beta. Betas tend to look for grander things to do. They're a type that likes to try to change the world, push things, really have an impact on society. They tend to be very group oriented, meaning they like to find groups of people who believe in more or less the same stuff, have a certain ideology that they agree with, and you're like, okay, this is my tribe. These are my people. They believe the kind of stuff I believe, so we're together. We're a group. Those are the groups that don't believe what we believe. We're kind of against them. It's very collectivistic thinking. It's group thinking. I like finding my people. And they don't really value the FI stuff, the individual things. They're not paying enough attention to the individual case by case differences from one person to another. Do you overall believe the stuff that I believe and you're part of my team? We're cool. You don't, then you must be part of some other team. They tend to think a lot like that. So I'm not sure what else more is to go on about without making this incredibly long. I think that about covers it. Again, very, very cool type. I really come to like them a lot more in the socionics world. They're very active. I've seen a lot of them, very active in socionics. Really enjoying dismantling the socionics structure and the rules and trying to analyze each little bit and put all the pieces together. Very surprising to see that. Very surprised to see that. And definitely a difference between Socionics SLE versus some MBTI ESTP. Very different. And yet they still have the whole SEFE that makes them kind of like the cool guy, the cool Chad guy. They still have that going on. So very interesting type. Obviously, I like them. So yeah, okay. So that pretty much covers this. As always, comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Um, let me know if I missed something. Maybe I didn't quite touch into something. Let me know if this just confused the hell out of everybody. I tried. So yeah. Okay, until the next time.